Today, when we hear the term Christianity, we typically associate it with Rome, the Vatican, Jerusalem, or perhaps the grand cathedrals of Europe. However, there's a significant historical fact often overlooked in schools. Just a few centuries after its inception, the pivotal decisions that would shape the beliefs of billions were made in what is now modern Turkey, not in Rome or Jerusalem, but in Anatolia. In a small lakeside town called Nicaea, a council crafted a statement of faith that remains recited word for word in churches worldwide over 1,700 years later. Letters sent to 7 congregations in cities like Ephesus and Smyrna became part of the final book in the Christian Bible. Moreover, the very first place followers of Jesus were called Christians wasn't in Europe. It was in a thriving Roman city in the south of present-day Turkey. This video explores that narrative, from the ancient streets of Antioch, along paths once traveled by Paul, through the 7 churches mentioned in the book of Revelation, and finally into the council halls where the essence of Christian belief was forged. By the conclusion, you'll see why many historians quietly regard Anatolia as the true birthplace of the Christian faith.
Antioch, the birthplace of the name. The journey begins in Antioch, known in Turkish as Antakya. In the 1st century, it was one of the 3 largest and wealthiest cities in the Roman Empire, rivaled only by Rome and Alexandria in Egypt. Situated along crucial trade routes, it was a bustling hub of merchants, soldiers, philosophers, and a burgeoning Jewish diaspora. According to the book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26, it was in Antioch that the followers of Jesus were first called Christians. This didn't happen in Jerusalem, where the faith originated, but in this vibrant Roman metropolis. Prior to this, they were known simply as followers of the Way. The term Christian, meaning little Christs or partisans of Christ, was likely coined here by outsiders as a kind of nickname, and it has persisted for 2 millennia. Tradition suggests that the Apostle Peter established a congregation in Antioch before eventually making his way to Rome. To this day, a rock-cut cave church on the slopes above the city, known as St. Peter's Church, is honored as one of the oldest sites of Christian worship. From Antioch, the Apostle Paul and his companion Barnabas were sent out on the first organized Christian missionary mission, a moment described in Acts as being ordained by the Holy Spirit for this purpose. Antioch was far more than a mere footnote in early Christian history. It was a launching pad in many respects.
Paul's Roads, a mission across Anatolia. Starting from Antioch, the journey takes us inland, tracing the footsteps of a man destined to become a pivotal figure in Christian history, Paul of Tarsus. Tarsus, situated in what is now south-central Turkey, was not only Paul's hometown, but also a notable hub of Greek learning and philosophy. Born there as a Roman citizen, Paul benefited from this status, which later enabled him to make direct appeals to Roman courts and travel with imperial protection. From Tarsus and Antioch, Paul's missionary travels meandered through the core of Anatolia, passing through Iconium, known today as Konya, through Perge and Attalia, close to the contemporary coastal city of Antalya, and continuing through highland towns with names that now sound almost legendary: Lystra, Derbe, Pisidian Antioch. In each of these cities, Paul established small communities of believers, often facing considerable resistance, occasional stoning and expulsion, yet he consistently returned to nurture these burgeoning congregations. Understanding the geographical importance is crucial. Anatolia stood as a literal crossroads between East and West, linking the Mediterranean world to Mesopotamia and beyond. Roman roads, constructed initially for military and trade purposes, became the essential routes for spreading the Christian message. Paul's letters to the Galatians, Ephesians, and Colossians were not composed in isolation. They were addressed to real congregations in real Anatolian cities, grappling with genuine questions about embracing this new faith. Without these roads and these cities, the New Testament as we know it might not have come into being at all.
The 7 churches of Revelation. Anatolia's significance to early Christianity is strikingly evident in the New Testament's final book, Revelation. This text is structured as a letter to 7 specific churches, all situated in western Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. Ephesus was a prominent hub, a vast port city and one of the largest urban centers in the Roman world, featuring the remarkable Temple of Artemis, recognized as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The church here was commended for its perseverance, but admonished for having lost its initial love. Smyrna, now known as Izmir, was encouraged despite enduring severe persecution. The text promises a crown of life for those remaining faithful, even in the face of death. Pergamon was a center of significant political and religious influence, hosting a great library second only to Alexandria's. Revelation vividly describes it as the place where Satan's throne is, likely a reference to the imperial cult and the pagan altars that dominated its skyline. Thyatira, near modern Akhisar, was a hub of trade guilds. The correspondence to this church addresses the conflict between economic survival and religious integrity. Sardis, once the fabulously wealthy capital of ancient Lydia, receives one of the book's harshest critiques. You have a reputation of being alive, but you are dead. Philadelphia, today known as Alashir, was small with limited strength, yet it is praised for maintaining its faith despite these challenges. Lastly, Laodicea, a prosperous banking and textile center, receives an infamous reprimand for being neither hot nor cold, but lukewarm, wealthy in material wealth, yet spiritually impoverished and oblivious to it. These 7 cities together illustrate the genuine experiences of early Christian communities, highlighting their struggles with wealth, persecution, compromise, and faithfulness within a region spanning about 100 miles in western Turkey.
The Council of Nicaea in 325 marked a pivotal moment for Christianity. By the early 4th century, Christianity had evolved from an oppressed minority into a significant influence within the Roman Empire. With this expansion came profound theological disagreements that threatened to fracture the young religion. The most critical of these disputes arose from the teachings of a priest named Arius, who proposed that Jesus, although divine, was created by God the Father and therefore not co-eternal with him. This concept, known as Arianism, spread quickly, dividing entire regions of the empire into opposing factions. Worried that this theological turmoil might destabilize his empire's unity, Emperor Constantine, who had recently legalized Christianity, called bishops from across the Roman world to convene in Nicaea, near what is now the town of Iznik, close to Bursa in northwestern Turkey. This gathering represented the first ecumenical council in Christian history, an occasion that brought together church leaders from throughout the empire. Nearly 300 bishops participated, traveling from distant places like Spain, Persia, and North Africa. After weeks of intense discussion, the council eventually dismissed Arius's doctrine and developed a formal declaration of faith, the Nicene Creed. This declaration affirmed that the Son is begotten, not made, sharing the same essence, homoousios in Greek, as the Father. This single Greek term became one of the most influential in theological discourse. It is remarkable that this creed, crafted in that lakeside town nearly 1,700 years ago, continues to be recited today in Catholic masses, Orthodox liturgies, and countless Protestant services around the globe every week. Yet the town of Iznik remains a quiet and modest place today, its significant history almost imperceptible amidst everyday life by the lake.
The subsequent ecumenical councils, Ephesus, Chalcedon, and Constantinople. The Council of Nicaea marked only the commencement of theological deliberations in early Christianity. Over the next century, 3 additional ecumenical councils were convened, each pivotal to the doctrinal development of Christianity, all located within what constitutes present-day Turkey. In 381 CE, the First Council of Constantinople, located in the city now known as Istanbul, sought to elucidate and extend the Nicene Creed. This council introduced significant elaborations concerning the role of the Holy Spirit, leading to the establishment of what is now recognized as the Nicene Constantinopolitan Creed, which remains widely recited across denominations today. A half-century later, in 431 CE, the Council of Ephesus convened in the ancient city of Ephesus.
This council became the arena for intense theological discourse regarding the appellation of Mary, the mother of Jesus, as Theotokos, meaning God-bearer or Mother of God. The affirmation of this title by the council engendered significant controversy and contributed to deep-seated ecclesiastical divisions, ramifications of which persist in varying forms within Christianity. By 451 CE, the Council of Chalcedon addressed one of the most challenging theological questions: the dual nature of Jesus as both wholly divine and wholly human. The Council's resolution, encapsulated in the Chalcedonian definition, established a doctrinal standard for much of historic Christianity. However, it also resulted in a schism with several ancient Christian traditions, such as the Armenian, Coptic, and Syriac Orthodox churches, which did not accept its conclusions. Reflect upon these historical developments. The quartet of councils that formulated the doctrinal bedrock for mainstream Christianity, including determinations regarding the need.
Today's connection. Whenever someone recites the creed in a church, be it in Rome, Moscow, Sao Paulo, or Seoul, they are, knowingly or not, echoing words first debated and agreed upon in a small Turkish town by a lakeside. The 7 cities mentioned in the Book of Revelation now stand as archaeological sites and tourist landmarks scattered across Western Turkey. The term Christian was originally spoken on the streets of what is now Antakya. This region has always been more than a mere crossroads between empires. It is where the intellectual and theological bedrock of one of the world's largest religions was crafted, debated, and ultimately documented. So when you see images of the ruins at Ephesus or the serene waters of Iznik Lake, look beyond mere stone and debris. Recognize them as the birthplace of an idea that went on to shape global history.